This is Primitive Outfitting, and you were listening to The Gritty Bowman.
Chicken. Wow, wow.
Wow.
Nice.
And I'm not standing on my high horse saying I shoot a self-bow, because there's no way in hell I'm shooting a self-bow. When I say that, I mean that in a good Christian way.
As far as Cecil goes with me, I mean, I could really give a crap about that lion too much.
And all I was looking at was the tip of Aaron's arrow. And it was like this and this, and then it was kind of shaking, and then it went boom, solid like a rock. And I'm like, oh.
He's like, I got to know if you hit anything or not. You never really show excitement, because I don't. I'm kind of always mellow. And this thing, ready to jerk a tear. I was running around like an idiot. Woo! You know, if you ever talk to anybody from Africa, they're all about hunting lions because they eat people. Yeah. The compound, I have total confidence. With this thing, I'm like, yeah, maybe. But the way that America works, we're so soft, like softer than baby. All of us, basically.
The shooting errors, I'm going to call it Matrix effect. I panicked.
If you're 5'10", 240, and you ate what I just listed, even if you ate too much of it, you're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
Because you're
just
taking
not
everything processed out.
Yep. It's really a lifestyle decision.
Yeah.
A choice.
You gotta stay
what we're
with it.
saying is change it forever from now on, and you won't regret it.
I've always said when I do cardio, I do backpack cardio. That's my thing. That doesn't mean I think that's the only thing you should do working out wise. Most people know I'm a gym rat. I used to really be a gym rat. I work out differently than Brian. I go to the gym. It's a huge, huge difference for me, for my knees. So it's a big one. The other thing is your digestive system. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Grady Bowman podcast. I'm Aaron Snyder, one of your two hosts. There's Brian Call. We'd like to say this podcast is brought to you by Jeff Lander and internet bullying. Just kidding. Now, today we're going to talk about nutrition, diet, nutrition, and exercise. We're going to call it 101, diet, nutrition, or whatever. We'll just call it nutrition and exercise 101. What do you think?
I like it.
Okay. Well, the big thing, there's multiple reasons we're doing this podcast. One, the overwhelming amount of questions we get on exercise and nutrition.
Yep.
It's that time of year to get fat. That's another good reason.
That's really the truth of it right now. Is people are like, save me from myself.
New Year's resolution is coming around the corner, and all you gym rats like myself know that sucks because the gym's full of people that are there for about 3 weeks. And then also some, I would say, misconceptions on exercise in general, or what we feel are maybe some misconceptions or maybe a little bit bogus info, or what we feel is bogus. And I mean, starting off, Brian and I have two completely, as we've made fun of each other multiple times, I wouldn't say backgrounds, but methodology. And I don't like CrossFit. You do CrossFit. Yeah. I do more of what you would call a boring workout. I go to the gym. I do push-ups, pull-ups, abs, bench press, normal stuff, some cables and some rubber bands and some other crap, right? And then I go do cardio with a pack on. You're flinging around barbells and clean and jerks, snatches, wall balls, all
burpees,
kinds of stuff.
Yeah. But I like it all.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we were going to work out today, but it's 9 degrees and we did a podcast. But I think for me, with the questions that I get starting out, I would like to start out, if you're cool with it, is nutrition. I would say the number one thing people do wrong, I wouldn't say do wrong, what people start off with the wrong foot on nutrition, one of the things is they overcomplicate things. In a lot of ways, it seems really intimidating. Go ahead.
I agree. Before we get into that, though, I just want to say, because this topic tends to either draw a lot of people or alienate a lot of people.
Yeah.
So there seems to be a group of people, hunters, that seem to just be like, anybody doing fitness in a gym
is stupid. Yeah.
That, and I can see why, because you have your fitness hunters, right? And then you have your kind of your traditional hunters, and people get sick and tired of hearing how fit somebody is. And there's more fitness photos, I think, in the hunting community than I've ever seen in my.
Dude, I don't know who Hunt Fit OA is, but he's buff.
He's a stud. He's
Oh, he looks like a monster.
he's
I mean, I know who he is, but I've never met him, I don't think. Yeah.
Him and Courtney Levesque are what do you call it? They're friendly with each other.
Perfect.
They're together.
Because she looks like she'd kick my ass too, so she's fit.
And she won the Train to Hunt championship last year, and she's
now Kafaru sponsors her. She's
awesome. Yeah, so
she's cool.
The two of them, but you have those kind of people that are fit and love hunting, and there are those that can't seem to like people like that.
I get texts every day from both sides of the fence. I've got the hardcore hunters don't believe in fitness, making fun of Zach Griffith. Sorry, Zach. Posting photos. I'm sure I've been on several piss poor memes myself. Or making jokes about you doing,
clean
whatever
and jerk or whatever
Facebook upload, Instagram you've done. And I'm sure backpack cardio. There's some veiny ones of me running up the stairs floating around. I'm sure I've gotten made fun of those. And guys are like, that's stupid. I weigh 400 pounds and I killed a 240-inch mule deer last year. Whatever.
Yeah,
a lot of hatred in the industry in general. But yeah.
Jealousy across the board in many areas. I've enjoyed Shed Crazy. He talks a lot about fitness.
Yeah, and he's a buff little guy anyway. Yeah.
That'd be cool to anyway. That's just an issue. So
listen up.
We don't really we're not in any. We just love to be fit. We just love to exercise and love to be able to do what we love to do.
And I can tell you on my end, I like to be fit because I used to be really fat, and so less knee swelling, less inflammation. I feel better. I feel more energy. I can do more. It's all around better for me. In your case, you used to be a stick figure. You were little. You got muscle now. I'm sure he feels better, buffer. I'm sure his wife might agree.
Yeah, now I'm like 185, 190 on a regular basis. Sometimes after hanging out with Aaron, I'll go up to 195.
150?
I was 160.
Yeah, I was going to say,
forever.
I thought you said 150 or 60, yeah.
In my early 20s and stuff. And it did take me a while. I also something odd happened. Like when my hair fell out, I grew hair on my chest. That all happened. It was like a trade. There was definitely a testosterone shift.
Ryan Callahan has a lot of hair on his chest. I bet if that's what the case is, because he lost it on his. He doesn't. It's not a crow's foot. It's like a cul-de-sac.
Oh, dude, Ryan's hair scares me.
He's got short now. It looks good.
Yeah, it did. But how do you let it get like it was
on the moose hunt? I mean, I don't. Maybe he was going for like the.
He's trying to repel women.
What? I don't know. I mean, he just didn't like that. I don't think he cares actually.
Yeah.
Well, and the issues that I've been having lately,
you can understand why.
Well, he and I talked about it at great length. And Ryan is a great guy. He's called me. How you doing? With knowing what's going on, and he's like, I'm the wrong guy to ask about this. Because I'm trying to talk myself out of a relationship normally, but it doesn't sound good, dude. You know what I mean? But as far as like, on the nutrition side of things,
yes.
I'll get questions like, hey, dude, looking at buying a Kafaru pack. Also, I was looking at getting these socks, and I'm fat. I got a waist, and I need to lose some serious pounds. I want to come out, and I need to hunt, and I'm confused. I need some advice. I need this and I need that. So my first response to that is, my only response to that is depending upon, what body type you are, in this case for a guy that built more like me, a fat guy, that's trying to get skinny or stay skinny, you want to cut all processed carbs out of your diet or as much as you possibly can, in my opinion, for a fat kid. You want to cut out all processed sugar or as much as you possibly can. Those two are big. You want to quit drinking all soda, obviously. You want to pound or drink as much water. I would say 100 ounces a day would be a good benchmark. If you're going to eat carbs, you don't want to eat carbs past 6 o'clock unless it's a veggie, salad.
And I would submit that you should do it during the window of gains, which is right after you've done some exercise.
That's what I was going to get at too, is if you're going to eat maybe not unhealthy, but a higher carb content, you would want to do that when your body as its highest metabolic or highest anabolic state, which is, what do they say, 30 minutes after you lift, 15 or something like that?
Right after intense exercise, the sooner you can really eat, the sooner your body can reduce cortisol levels and absorb that. We've talked about this before. When you eat in that time frame, it's like picture trying to burn some of us are fathers. You take a dirty diaper, put it on a really small, slow burning fire, like a candle.
Yeah,
it's not going to burn much.
Yeah,
you throw it into a raging hot fire, that diaper's gone.
Yeah, and that's definitely after your.
And that's what happens when you eat. If you're going to eat like something crappy or some serious carbs, you eat it, the body just burns it. It's gone. Otherwise, it sort of festers like a dirty diaper on a small flame.
Which is why you don't want to burn your dirty diaper before you go to bed. So you do not want to eat a high carb, high sugar, anything before bed. I will occasionally, I'm no angel by any means, but I will occasionally, if I'm hungry before bed, egg whites are not a horrible, eggs in general are not a horrible idea. Asparagus, anything that's going to, kind of pat down the appetite without being a high carb or high sugar content is important.
Yep.
And I want to, on my end of this, I want to try and keep this simple because people confuse things. So let's say specific body type, specific size. If you're 5'10", 240 pounds, you probably got a 42-inch waist, maybe-ish. Mm-hmm. You probably could stand to lose, if you're 240, 50 pounds, I would say is realistic total if you're 5'10". But let's say 40 pounds, even 200. So you're 240 pounds, 5'10". Used to be an athlete, now you're kind of a fat kid. So I would say 40 pounds, you're probably going to lose 3 to 5 pounds pretty easily a week by just cutting out processed carbs, lowering your total carb content completely, as well as sugars, processed sugars, lowering that down as well, drinking 100 ounces of water a day, and then obviously, there's a little more to it. Increase your protein content, obviously, to keep your caloric intake a little higher. Most people that eat a lot of carbs and then you eat protein, you got to eat like 10 times the amount of protein to equal the same amount of caloric intake in carbs. That's an exaggeration, but it's a big difference.
Yeah, and we've had a few people on to talk about keto and that kind of thing and paleo and so forth. Really, all we're saying is one of the things that happens when you cut out all those processed sugars and you cut out those carbohydrates, which really don't do anything as far as building muscle tissue or affecting hormone production or affecting brain function.
They increase holding water and inflammation is what
that's
they
increase. They do. So,
sodium is bad as well.
So the best thing to do is when you cut those things out, the body will go through kind of what they call like the keto flu, or where you basically you're going to crave carbs and sugar because that's what your body runs on. What you're trying to do is get your body to shift from being a carb burning machine to a fat burning machine. And so there's a phase when you cut those things out where it's rough. You just feel tired, your brain is groggy, and you just don't quite.
You're pissed off all the time. I can tell you that I was.
But it doesn't take long. A couple weeks for some people, maybe 3 on a long scale.
And honestly, if you're super active, that 2 weeks is a lot. In my opinion, that's how I got through it.
Depends, I think, how metabolically deranged you are.
Yeah.
How messed up are you? Like how overweight, how obese, how slow is your body to like.
If you're eating 90% of your caloric intake at 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night, you're going to have a lot tougher time than others. I can tell you that.
But when you cut those carbs out, you're going to feel better over the long run. One of the things to help curb the appetite and to stay, because really what people have the best intentions, but it's really hard to say no to that cookie when it comes through the door.
That's me.
So, some things you can do to help set yourself up to succeed is while you decrease carbohydrates, what I found is increase my fat intake. Go ahead and indulge in a little bit of bacon and avocado, a little bit of eggs,
peanut butter,
some things like that.
raw almonds.
Almonds, nuts are all great one. Macadamia nuts and cashews.
If you're eating, most people I know that have weight problems eat the majority of their food at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What you want to do is really eat a little bit smaller meals. This is the best luck I've had as a fat kid. Every 3 hours, you want to snack more than you want to eat. Basically,
Yeah.
I mean, for me anyway, you don't want to eat huge meals every 3 hours. But if you go to the gym at 6, eat a meal at 7, eat another meal at 10, 1-ish.
Yeah.
You eat another meal. Work out in there. I mean, it gets your metabolic, and you want those. The higher the protein content, the more of a metabolic state you'll reach. I mean, even carbs are just bad. There's no way around.
Not a lot of value in sugar,
No, there's not.
which is really what carbs are.
I was just gonna
They convert
say-
the same.
That's one thing people have to understand is, in the end, your body does treat them the same way.
Yeah,
which is
carbohydrate is carbohydrate. It's both. It's sugars and carb. It's usually when you read a package, if it says 7 grams of sugar, that's just a subset of the total carbohydrate number.
And what I want to make sure for people, just because this question's come up, so you understand, some people will go and they will buy I'll say sugars are bad and carbs are bad. The reason why I'm separating those two is there's not a whole lot of difference in processed bread than there is in a donut. In fact, I would say there is no difference, except maybe the glazing on the side. But if you go get, and you can actually get healthy bread, that gluten-free healthy bread. But if you go buy one of those loaves of French bread that smells like heroin when you're walking through the grocery store, you might as well just multiply that in length by 7 or 12 donuts. It's just about the same thing.
I mean, yeah, sometimes it doesn't have to be sweet to be a carbohydrate.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Now,
the one thing for me that I have, and sodium, I mentioned that a second ago, but for I think it's every milligram of sodium you take in, you retain 3 milligrams of water. And so a lot of people are more prone to like puffy face or whatever, or fat rolls. And in my case, so that's where I hold water. Sodium and carbs make me hold water. So you want to keep your sodium content
and that's
minimum.
And that's tricky because I require lots of sodium. I don't know why.
You're not a fat kid, though. You get
No.
away with it more.
No, and so some people are extremely sensitive to sodium.
Yeah.
And some people like me, Katie, my sister, my mom, it's like, dude, we eat so much salt it would make your head spin, and we still can barely.
Amy's not a sweets person, and I am. She's a sodium. She likes salt.
Yeah.
So like last night, she made burger. I thought it was great when I was eating it. I'm like, when she went to scoop her some, I'm like, hey, you should put some salt on that, because I knew immediately there wasn't enough sodium on it. But then, I'll be over there making this peanut butter milkshake thing, and she'll just have a few sips of it, and I'm sucking it down with both fists like a polar bear. But it's sweet. She doesn't like sweets as much. So you will have to walk your own path on that one, because everybody's gonna have more problems with different things.
One thing that I learned a long time ago that has carried over for me today, and a lot of people find this out as well. Avoid any carbohydrates for as long as you can for the whole day, for the first part of the day, because when you go to bed at night, like let's say you're Aaron and you go to bed at 8 or 9, you fall asleep and you have no carbohydrates in your system because you quit eating, a few hours before you went to bed. While you fall asleep, your body goes, it kind of slips into that ketogenic fat burning phase, right? When you first eat sugar for the day, if you wake up and you have a big bowl of cereal or a donut, instantly that spikes your insulin levels. They shoot up. And instantly, an increase in insulin causes you to crave more sugar.
And you are what you eat as far as that goes.
Yeah, sugar has this way of making you want more of it.
Yep.
So if you eat a little bit of sugar, you're like, oh, I want more sugar, more sugar, more sugar. And it's this cascade effect. If you keep the sugar intake down, you'd be surprised over time how much you don't crave it.
Yep. And I would say I had to wean myself off of it. As horrible as that sounds, food is a drug. There's no way around it, especially if you're a fat kid.
It causes a physiological response. They've shown dopamine receptors secrete when you eat bread.
Oh, I bet. I
Donuts.
can only imagine. Well, and a guy texted me the other day, messaged me, and he told me his little story, and I gave him my spiel, of what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, I love potato chips and Mountain Dew. And I'm like, which, by the way, are probably the two worst things. Now, I will say Brian more so, he eats a little more chips than I do. I'm a cookie guy. It's not like later on after you've accomplished and mastered, I would say mastered, figured out how to gain muscle, lose fat, and all that stuff. I can get away with eating a cookie when I want to, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can do. You can get away. You eat Haagen-Dazs. That's you like ice cream. Again, I love cookies and I love peanut butter. I'll eat Justin's peanut butter like ice cream, but I have the way ahead of the intestinal fortitude to work out harder the next day to get rid of it and not eat it over and over and over and over.
And my favorite time to eat those is after I ran 5 miles, rode up to 5,000 meters, and then did a workout. Then I'm like, oh. Yeah, I need some ice cream. Yeah. Well, that to me also, I'm listening to those cravings in a way that's kind of they're during that window of gains.
But
right?
don't do that if you're a fat kid. I can tell you that. Don't right. Because that just talks your willpower down off the ledge or off on the ledge, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
And so, but if you're trying to, like you said, the sugar or salt or whatever, if you wake up in the morning and you're a salt person or a sugar person at dinner or breakfast, either one, you need to little by little go as long as you can without it or smaller amounts as you can to wean yourself off.
For example, what I found is I wake up, I'd have 2 eggs, 2 or 3 pieces of bacon, and avocado. There's really virtually no carbohydrates in that. I mean,
and it's all good fats.
It's a tiny amount, and it's good fats. You got cholesterols, and the bacon's not superb, but it's not bad. Like it
could be worse.
It's nature's candy without it's not evoking a carbohydrate response, right? Yep. So my insulin levels have not peaked. There hasn't been a lot of that, and now my body's running on fat because all night long it switched over to fat while you were asleep.
Well, and also I do, and I'm for most fat guys I know, I do starved cardio in the morning, and it's very arguable if that's a good thing or not.
Yep. I think you just got to go by how it makes you feel.
Yeah, if it makes you binge eat later, don't do it. But for me, I can get up, I have my coffee or some kind of a pre-workout Yeti. I go to the gym. I work out like a madman. I'm burning fat the whole time, right? If you're a fat guy, you don't need to worry about burning muscle or like, I want to get all muscular. Get rid of the fat. So you're burning fat the entire time you lift and you do cardio at the gym or CrossFit or whatever you go do. And then when I come home, I'm hungry. I'm extremely hungry, but I try to keep that to almost the same breakfast you have. I mean, if I'm in a hurry, I'll have Greek yogurt and some steel cut oats. But usually I'll have 3 to 4 eggs. Sometimes I'll have gluten-free bread from Udi's or whoever makes it. Sometimes I'll have bacon or I'll have turkey breast, slices off of a turkey breast. I mix it all together and eat it. That's usually what I have. Now, you're burning fat the entire time. And you're not taking in any sugars. Your body's just happy to eat. When I get done, I've had better luck with that.
It's got the protein and the fats it needs to replenish what you just broke down.
Yep.
One thing is if you do a heavy cardio, carbohydrates do help replenish your glycogen stores, which is just where you have stored sugar. If you tapped into those and used them, that's really the only time I eat carbs is to sort of, or I should eat carbs. We know I eat sugar other times too, but when I should eat them is when I'm trying to replenish some lost sugar glycogen stores where I've burned some sugar during workout. So I eat a little bit of carbohydrate post workout, but in the morning I'll often, like I said, eat the eggs and bacon and stay away from sugars, avocado, some other veggies. And then at lunchtime, I'll try to eat more veggies and stuff like that. Depends on when I work out. But after I work out, that's when I eat carbohydrates.
Yep. And for me, again, Brian said this, I'm going to concur. Neither one of us are perfect. Me specifically not. What we should do and what we try to do isn't what we always do. Exactly. But I can say in Brian's case, he pumped on 25 pounds of muscle. I lost 50 pounds of fat. So we both been there. He hasn't been a fat kid, and I haven't been a skinny kid, but he's a skinny kid that got buff. I'm a fat kid that got skinnier. I'm not skinny. So we've been down some roads, and I agree completely with what you're saying. When we go do, and I've tried to cut all gluten out of my diet completely, but when we go do cardio, if I'm going to eat a lot or eat something or whatever, it's going to be after I've done a huge loop or Red Rocks. The other day we did Red Rocks for 45 minutes, and I mean, we got done. I didn't eat anything bad, but we went to Tokyo Joe's.
Yeah.
And I had a giant bowl of brown rice and, chicken and whatever.
Yeah. I feel like if I eat that kind of meal without the exercise first, I'm at a stage now in my diet and stuff that I feel like crap from it. Like it makes me.
I feel bloated.
Yeah, feel bloated.
Yeah.
And just kind of tired, and it makes me feel crummy.
Yep. No, I agree. So,
but if I eat it after a workout, it makes me feel awesome.
yeah. It definitely. Sometimes it actually, depending upon how the workout, it makes me feel sleepy.
Well, and that's why I think that's a signal that that it's ideal. It's not really the food to eat on a day-to-day morning, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yep.
It's the type of meal you consume for the right needs that your body is saying, "Hey, I need this now."
Yep. No, for sure. So just because we need to go in the fitness portion, my spiel, and then Brian give you his. Read all labels. When we say processed, if it says enriched flour, enriched anything, if it has 95 different contents,
if it says hydrogenated.
Yeah, hydrogenated, that's another key bad word. Really, if you stick to veggies, sweet potatoes, whatever you can stomach, right? Potatoes in general, not too many, but veggies, salad, things like that, fruits, Greek yogurt isn't too bad, eggs, bacon in moderation, avocado, peanut butter, things like that. All those things are good. Everything else, get out your refrigerator, get out of the house. Like anything coming in a box is generally bad. Actually, probably everything that comes in a box.
I mean, honestly, it's not real food, in so many ways,
Yeah.
Here's my take on grains and cereals and breads. Those are for poverty, people in poverty.
Well, and Brian has a good point, and it took me a long time to realize this. What do we send Red Cross, whoever, overseas? We send stuff to make bread.
Yeah, oatmeal, grains. Yeah. They just keep forever, and they're a great source in terms of famine or poverty.
And the bread that I eat goes bad in like 2 days.
But if you're wealthy, it's like, I want some maybe fresh fatty dairy. I want some meat, and eggs kind of thing, and fresh vegetables of all kinds and fruits.
Pineapple, whatever.
I mean, those are real foods. Those are like, I'd walk out, I'd find it, I'd grow it, I'd eat that stuff. When you start talking about grains and all that, especially with all the bioengineering that's gone on.
Yep, for sure.
With those kind of foods, corn.
Try to eat grass-fed butter. The butter's not grass-fed, but the cows are. Basically, organic butter. It'll say organic all over.
It's funny, Ranella was talking about it on the Joe Rogan podcast that when the Indians were here and everybody was doing corn, he's like, the corn back then looked like little finger corns that you see.
Yep.
And he's like, and now corn's this thing, Indians wouldn't recognize it. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it wasn't maybe quite that small, but it was smaller.
But the point is, it's not recognizable today with what we've done to it.
No. And we buy organic.
But that's a little bit disturbing.
Oh, yeah.
That means they've bioengineered it to this point. And then they said the same thing. Like, you've heard the whole wheat thing, where wheat used to be like 3 feet tall and it would fall over and blow in the wind and all this. Well, now it's a foot tall, stiff as a rod. And the stuff
easier to plow.
And they can put it in 10 times as thick in a field.
Yep.
But due to that engineering, the way that they made it more robust was so it could withstand all the insecticide that they spray on it.
Yeah.
Is they used its natural chemical defenses that it uses to protect. Now a bug doesn't even bother eating it. It's bioengineered to stop that. Well, what happens to us when we eat it? That's not the same grain that our great-great-grandparents ate.
What's amazing to me, because I have a daughter, is the size of the boobs on kids nowadays has to have something to do with the food, because they didn't have them like that even when you and I were
10
kids.
and 11.
Yeah, my daughter. I'm like, but I mean, if you look in my fridge now, I've got, or in my cupboards and fridge, I've got eggs, hummus, Greek yogurt, green and red peppers, avocado, cucumbers, a bunch of eggs, almond milk, even though he doesn't like almond milk, cashew milk, a bunch of kombucha. That's probably in the fridge, in the cupboard. I've got raw almonds, beef jerky, some of these gluten-free, what are they, Rice Crisp crackers. That's what we dip in the hummus.
Perfect bars.
Perfect bars in the freezer. And that's probably about it. And that's pretty much, Amy cooks a bunch, so she makes a lot of stuff because we eat elk a lot and turkey. If you ate that, if you're 5'10", 240, and you ate what I just listed, even if you ate too much of it, you're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
Because
it's
you're
just
taking
not
everything processed out.
Yep. In my fridge, you got bacon, eggs, avocado, sweet peppers, bell peppers. We've got broccoli.
Yeah, I was going to say we forgot.
Asparagus.
Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, cauliflower.
Okra. We eat okra a lot, too.
No, we don't have any okra.
You get the idea. There's
leafy
nothing
greens. We eat a lot of
spinach.
Kale.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did forget. I have a kale like crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, you get kale chips, too, which are an indulgent treat, but actually pretty darn good for you.
Yeah, they're not
not good. I would say they're just...
They're not horrible, but they're not great.
Yeah.
But I think for I eat standard kale, obviously tons of different salad, but the kale chips are a processed chip.
Yeah.
They're organic and they're gluten-free.
Yeah.
But if you're going to dip something into hummus and you're a fat kid and you don't want to eat a cookie, a kale chip is a good alternative to that.
And keep in mind, I mean, with all this food that we're talking about that we eat, that stuff we combine that with wild game meat. So all those kind of foods that I name in the fridge, I tend to eat some kind of deer or elk steak or burger every day, along with all those veggies and fruits.
Mm-hmm.
Fruits wise, we eat pears, a lot of pears, especially this time of year because they're just good. My kids love pears. I eat apples. We get grapes, but we don't eat very many. Like I'll eat like 5 grapes a day. For antioxidants and stuff like that. They're pretty high in sugar, so I don't. But
we're a huckleberry, blueberry.
I was going to say berries. That's the main go-to.
Yep.
All kinds of berries because berries are really low in sugar, have tons of antioxidants and tons of fiber.
And I mean, if I was going to go over
micronutrients are high.
The 15 years ago, a handful of M&Ms, and now I go over and grab a handful of huckleberries or blueberries. Yep. I'm getting something out of one. The other one, I'm not getting anything but fatter.
And that's the thing to note too. Like, you could go and you could get some intense ice cream with caramel and junk in it, right?
Yeah.
Or you could go and get some fresh berries, a little bit of heavy whipping cream, the touch of vanilla and sugar in the whipping cream, whip it up, and have a little bowl of your berries and some whipped cream. Or you could eat this highly processed ice cream with caramel and nut chunks in it. You could throw nuts in your berries bowl.
Yep.
And you've got this, I mean, if you were to actually weigh it out and say which one tastes better, I'd be hard-pressed to say the ice cream was better, right? Like,
yep.
That's the thing that happens over time is you stop eating those sugars. Aaron and I will go places and we're like, we can't eat this. It tastes like solid sugar.
Oh, him and I trying to find food at the freaking airport was funny.
Everything tastes sweet. Too sweet now.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a Greek yogurt guy, so we use it like sour cream. Mm-hmm. We'll put it on.
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah, we did elk chili the other night, and I say we as in not me because I don't cook very well, but we had sour cream or Greek yogurt. It tastes the same to me. I mean, it's great. But the other thing, like we got to get to the fitness portion of it, but I mean, it is imperative that you actually listen to all of these things, not half. Because if you only listen to half, especially if you're a fat kid, the other half is going to draw you back into the half you got rid of. Meaning, if you're like, I'm not drinking soda, but I'm going to keep eating chips, your chances of drinking soda again, if you don't drop all of it, are so freaking high. It's such a high percentage. Or if you say, example, okay, I'm going to drink diet soda, which really in a lot of ways is just as bad as soda.
I think worse, maybe.
Yeah, for inflammation, I think it is worse. I mean, it's bad in every way.
I mean, they've shown it does cause an insulin response, even though it's not really sugar.
Yeah, they do.
So what then? Because where does the insulin go? And then you got, it's weird, man. I think it's like, it's full on chemical.
Yeah, no, it's not good. And so really, if you can, I mean, obviously try to do as much as we've talked about. But
I think too, the one thing to note is when you do eat if you say, okay, I'm going to cut out half the sugar I eat, but I'm still going to stay married to the rest of it.
That's bad.
But I'm also going to adopt Aaron and Brian's recommendation and have bacon and eggs and avocado for breakfast. You're kind of like you're combining an increased level of fat with your already high carb diet.
Yeah.
It's a good combination to gain more weight.
It can be. Well, that's one good combination. The other good combination is to go full bore, read into it, and you go paleo, basically.
Yeah.
No carbs. Or what are some of the other names for the different
I don't know, like ketogenic. Or
what was the Atkins diet?
Atkins, yeah. You got like...
Anyway, if you stop eating carbs long enough to lose a bunch of weight, then you start eating them again at a high rate, you're probably going to get fatter than you were.
It's really a lifestyle decision.
Yeah.
A choice. What we're saying is change it forever from now on, and you won't regret it. You feel better. The one thing the reason I quit, it wasn't to lose weight because I wasn't having trouble with weight, and it wasn't to gain muscle because I had gained some muscle. Where I really started to cut out the carbs was I was chronically inflamed.
Yeah, and that's a
bad
huge thing I've noticed for me after cutting out gluten. My knees, no inflammation.
Totally, like my knees, and I had these rashes right here on my hands that were really bad, and they've been there like 6 or 7 years. And I had no idea what they were, and I went to the doctor, and I'm like, yeah, this skin splits here, and it splits here, and I have this rash, and I can't seem to get rid of it, and they prescribed me some dermatitis, whatever, medicine. And
it was gluten.
Dude, I quit I cut out the sugar and the gluten thing, all carbs, grains, cut those out. And within a week or two, they started going away. And within like a month, all my rashes were gone. And then pretty soon, I was telling you, like, I was like Cameron Haynes when he got outed by Rogan on that podcast.
Popping ibuprofen.
I was taking vitamin I, ibuprofen, 300 to 400 milligrams, sometimes up to 800 milligrams, 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And that was just a way of life for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Just,
I was the same way.
I was playing sports. I was doing activities, and it was just like my knees and my back would hurt and my hands would hurt, and that way it cleared the inflammation.
It's a huge, huge difference for me, for my knees. Which is a big one. The other thing is your digestive system, once you're used to it, generally is going to work more favorably than if you're jamming.
That's the other thing is some of you guys listening may have just jacked up your bodies a lot in terms of your gut health. And, a good probiotic is indispensable. I take one every day and sometimes twice. And then if you're really in a bad way and you're really messed up, like you've got some stomach bowel problems, I love Metamucil.
Yeah, and I've never had to take Metamucil. I take fish oil pills, an organic multivitamin, which is basically, it doesn't matter. But
back in the day, that alone, I had to take Metamucil for about a year, a couple times a day, to get any kind of like digestive health back. And then I got off it. I never take. I have Metamucil maybe once every 2 months or something.
I think I drink 160 ounces of water a day. Mm-hmm. That has to help some, which is probably too much. I think so.
I think it has a lot more, though. When you start introducing healthy fats back into your diet.
Oh, the river flows smooth.
Yeah. I mean, you need a little fish oil to make things smooth. And vegetables and stuff and berries have not a ton of natural fiber, and it just it'll make things.
I was just going to say, I try to take fish oil, but kale is a big one. I eat seaweed like crazy.
Asparagus and broccoli are great.
Yep.
Cruciferous vegetables that really help feed your gut bacteria and pass your.
And if you're bored, type in leaky gut. You'll learn all about it. I mean, you're going to wonder why you're not dead, and you're going to wonder how much better you're going to feel.
A big part of leaky gut is caused from inflammation of the intestinal wall, caused by grains and breads, which then makes the intestinal wall, it's permeable, so that nutrients can go through the intestines and into the bloodstream. But that permeable wall becomes so swollen and then damaged that you've got huge chunks of food leaking into the body that shouldn't be there, that haven't broke down properly, and then they start causing other diseases and immune deficiency, autoimmune responses that not good.
We may have to make this into 2 parts because we're digging into some other stuff that I think is important to talk about, meaning the digestive system. How is it explained to me once to basically just like a freak ass athlete, right? He's like, well, if let's say, you're going to want to make a milkshake, or you're going to want to make whatever, where there's multiple different ingredients, depending upon what you put in those ingredients, it's going to taste sweeter, or it's going to taste, richer or salty, or whatever you're making. The ingredients make your end result and to your desired, taste.
Yeah.
Well, the ingredients, since 80% of digestion happens in the intestines?
Yeah.
Is it 80?
Sounds
It's a
right.
ridiculously high number. What you eat throughout the course of your entire day is basically how your digestive system is going to work. Meaning, if you are one of those guys, and I know a lot of them, they're like, I just eat steak. I don't eat any greens. You're basically saying, I want my digestive system to flow very slow, have a very high chance of it getting clogged up. And then I want a lot of that stuff to get left in there and just kind of hang out the rest of my life. And if you're like, you know what? I want to be antioxidants, basically all the good stuff. So now you're saying, you know what? I don't mind eating some elk or some red meat. And when I say red meat, I leave cow out of all that, even though lots of people have beef, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. But red meat, I want some veggies. I want some fats. That's going to help smooth things over on the way out. And I want some water in there too. You want your intestines to have all the ingredients to a happy stomach. And those are things like, obviously, go ahead.
What you just described.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as like what you're going to eat, salad is good. Any kind of, in my opinion, almost any kind of fruit is good. Some are a lot better than others. And then any kind of like lean protein is going to be good. So you don't want to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And lunch meat is Brian and I are giving each other crap. Any kind of processed lunch meat is bad. Now we get it sliced off the. In fact, he and I got into a big argument because I'm thinking, did I read the label wrong? I think this was just cut off the chicken breast, but he thought I had bought processed.
Yeah, where
lunch.
they smash it all up, chicken parts, form it, and then they slice it. It's really a flat hot dog.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it is a flat hot dog. But no, if you buy lunch meat, you're like, I was still like, whatever, want to do this, and I'm in a hurry. Just make sure it's the kind of lunch meat that's sliced actually off the animal, not put into some kind of a thing and pumped out of a gun.
Yeah, and the only risk with some of that stuff is when you slice that, some of that stuff has monosodium in it and other preservatives, and so it's nice if you can do your own game meat, slice it, or
definitely read the label. That's for sure. Yeah.
I just had some. I was with Corey Jacobson, and his daughter shot a whitetail, and they made some jerky out of it. Holy cow! It was like lunch meat.
Yeah,
it was awesome. So
fresh or frozen is another.
I did another thing with. I've done 2 shows with Traeger, which we'll post, and I'm excited to find other ways to introduce healthier meats into my diet that have great taste.
Yeah.
Rather than your traditional lunch meat kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great foods out there that don't have all those crappy things. Now, when you're talking about your digestion and your stomach, one thing to also consider is like Aaron said, you're introducing all these great things. Stay away from those chemicals. That's what we're saying, is to eat clean, because those chemicals go in and they kill your gut bacteria. They kill everything you need to be healthy. You're basically poisoning that system. So stay away from that kind of crap, and hydrogenated oils, and your sugar as well. That's the other thing, is the amount of sugar the standard American diet has in it is insane. I mean, Aaron and I eat like a tiny, tiny amount of sugar compared to what we used to. And
today I had hot chocolate that had sugar because I had it in my coffee. And it's not like you have to be perfect with this. So obviously, here's my upfronts peanut butter bar, which is different than a Butterfinger.
Yeah,
but
totally.
High sugar, but if you're going to cheat clean is a good way to put it.
But when you eat sugar kind of has a natural tendency to feed bad bacteria.
Yep, it does.
So inside your stomach, you've got good and bad bacteria, and they kind of compete. It's just how nature, it's how the body is. When you put sugar in it, you tend to reinforce the bad stuff, and that competes with the good stuff, and you just don't have the same quality of digestion.
Pumping in 5 Mountain Dews a day. That's straight sugar. So
that's just going to make you straight up fat.
Yeah, it will. I did it.
Liquid sugar is like, it's a hyper palatable sugar.
Yeah.
Food. There's no way that you're going to eat the 28 oranges it took to create this orange drink.
And,
Yet you can drink it.
Oh yeah.
Like that. But for you to peel it and eat it with the fiber attached to it, you'd be done after 1-2 oranges. You're like, okay, I've had enough.
Yep.
Nature has a way of, when you eat the raw deal, to keep you from doing things you shouldn't. But when we hyper process it into it's so easy to eat something that you naturally would never do.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the things that I think, I'm glad you brought that up, and I gotta actually go out to dinner here soon, but Gatorade is bad. Orange juice, in my opinion, especially if you're a fat kid, is bad. Unless it's
all juices, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's processed. Now, if you take an orange and squeeze the hell out of a bunch of them, make a glass of orange juice, completely different.
It's not too bad, but it's still a ton of sugar.
Well, I was just, read. Google is a powerful thing, because when I read, because I was like, oh, orange juice every day, of course that's good. And then I read about it, and I'm like, oh, my Lanta, it is not good. So read labels, anything processed. And if you wonder if it's processed, if it's any kind of box, it's probably processed. If it's in a bag, it's processed. If you're like, oh, look, a gluten-free bar, which I eat all the time when I'm backpacking, it's processed, right?
Right.
The only thing that wouldn't be processed is if you sliced up sweet potato chips and put them in your oven. That's not processed. But if it's taken 19 different parts, it's processed to get to the final outcome.
You can figure it out. So there's lots more we could talk about. We probably will down the road. But people send in some questions. We can address those. On the exercise thing, trying to knock it out in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think we could do that easy. Why don't you do a 5-minute spiel, and then I'll do a 5-minute one.
So when it comes to fitness, when it comes to exercise, for me, a long time has been to avoid injury, maintain mobility, be strong, feel strong. And so I've done that through various means, but I really enjoy, and I've said this before, lifting heavy weight. It's not because I want to look a certain way. Otherwise, I would be lifting differently. I would be bodybuilding lifting, with low weight, high reps. But for me, I just want to feel good and be truly strong. I want good knees, good hips, good shoulders, good back. I want to be able to as I age well. I don't want to get injured. I want to have all that stuff fully intact. So I like to lift weights. I like to do that through various means, and I like to do calisthenics, so body weight movements. Whether that's a handstand push-up, climb a rope, or do pull-ups, things like that. We've talked about this before. And then on the cardio thing, I think sport-specific exercise is critical to really excel in whatever it is activity you love to do. So for us, we like to hunt and hunt the backcountry and hike. So there is really no substitute for me as far as conditioning for actually conditioning doing the activity I want to do. Throw on a heavy backpack and hike up the hills and do that regularly. That'll give me the best fitness for the activity that I want to do. The only problem with that is to do that solely is a disservice, I think, to my overall health and wellness, because that activity doesn't address my core. It doesn't address my knees and joints in the same way that a 400 pounds deadlift does. They're different. Or a heavy back squat, things like that. So those things help me have an intense level of strength, so that if you can squat 400 pounds, Aaron, and then you put 150 pounds on your back can handle 400-pound compressed spine because you've worked your way up to it. You can do 3 reps at it, whatever, through a few sets. That's my goal, is just to create the bone density and that connective tissue strength, the core strength, so that when I put that pack on at a much lower weight and do my sport-specific exercise, I do it free of injury and pain, and I recover well from the exercise. Where I'm weak and deficient, and it's Aaron gives me slams me with a dose of humble pie every time we hike, and that is in the area of cardio. Especially a higher pace, but yet long sustained cardio, I'm just breathing 10 times as hard as Aaron is. And so I want to get to a point where I'm much better at that. But that would require me doing a lot more sustained cardio activities like Aaron does, which we've been doing a lot more. The altitude is still a problem for me. I mean, I'm working through that, but I certainly am feeling much more robust when I'm exercising at sea level than I am at 9,000 feet.
Yeah.
But definitely cardio is an area where I want to work on that. And so I think but what gets to me though is when somebody says, you get this a lot from hunters, if you want to be better at backpacking in the backcountry and so forth, then you just should backpack. I feel like there's a lot more someone can do in terms of their overall fitness level if they incorporate a lot more into it than just backpacking. And I also feel like if all you do is that, there's a high degree of injury.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a much greater chance that you're going to be injured than if you round out that workout.
Yep. No, I would agree. I mean, and mine will be a bit quicker because Brian covered some things. I've always said when I do cardio, I do backpack cardio. That's my thing. That doesn't mean I think that's the only thing you should do working out wise. Most people know I'm a gym rat. I used to really be a gym rat. I work out differently than Brian. I go to the gym. I do some type of core, whether it's a lot of supersets, a lot of things like set of 25 push-ups, and then I'll do, basic, I don't know what you want to call them, where I raise an arm up, set of 5, raise an arm up, set of 5, raise my left arm up. Just basically core strength movements is what I'm doing. Core is hugely important for a strong back. So I do a lot of core exercises. I do some curls, I do some bench press, I do some deadlifts, some pretty simple stuff. Basically, my end thing is I want to maintain the muscle I've got, basic strengthen, keep as strong the core that I have, and just stay fit, right? Keep my heart rate up. And then I do a bunch of backpack cardio. But we also do a lot of lunges, wall sits, wall balls, goofy stuff like that, where what I find is when someone just backpacks and they don't do other things, they are very susceptible to lower back injuries. Not almost everyone.
Is it true though? Like almost everybody, especially 40 and over, or even late 30s that we know that does a lot of hunting that doesn't do any other kind of exercise. Almost all of them have.
I can't think of someone that doesn't have a lower back problem right now.
Yeah, it's a lower back or a knee thing.
Yeah, knees and back. And so for what took me forever to understand on my IT band, I had an IT band issue. figured out how to get it to go away, but my brain works, how did I get it? Well, it's because I got it from having parts of muscles too strong and not parts of muscles, other parts weak.
Overdeveloped quads and underdeveloped hamstrings and things like that. That
goofy stuff that you probably wouldn't normally think of until you get injured or whatever, preventative. So what I started really trying to do was even keel out everything on my body to where I, had good mobility, good strength, and good cardio. Now, I don't go as crazy as he does on some of this stuff, but when I'm side hilling across the mountain with 80 pounds, I never worry about my knee, my back, or my hip.
Yep.
And Dingaling here is older than I am, and he can fly downhill. I can tell you that for a fact with heavy weight. And really, for our age, and we're not old, but we're not young either.
No.
It's not like we ever have to say, hey, wait, as we're flying downhill or climbing.
No,
Brian may not keep up going uphill, but he just never sore. You don't hear him the next day, oh, my hips. Oh, he doesn't. He just goes again. You just don't have the best cardio in the world. But I can tell you he's not sore.
I mean, when we climb the hills, it's like, dang it, I'm going as hard as I can. We get to the top and we go down the other side, and I'm like, hallow frickin' Luya.
Yeah.
I want you to watch Brian come up the hill behind me.
Or rub it in.
Watch him breathe. We're ready? Sucker. I gotta take 10 steps. He's got little Fred Flintstone legs. We made it. Here's camp. I'm gonna black out.
And that's where things have got to change for me, is I have got to get better at climbing hills. That said, I mean, I'll climb a hill all day long.
Yep.
I'm just not doing it as fast as you. I mean, some people might give me crap. They'll be like, oh, it sounds like Brian is, has no cardio. I have cardio, and there's a lot of guys I'll beat up a hill.
Yeah.
I'm just not beating you. But
I talk crap all the time, actually.
But who beats you? I mean, in general. And then there's a few other guys that do beat you, but I've been with some guys that are real fit that I beat up the hill.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, Colton and I went the other day, and Colton hasn't been doing cardio.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't doing as well as I have, but I've been doing more cardio. And Colton doesn't have like a super precise. He's 26 or 7. He doesn't have to have a precise. He's pretty buff, right? But usually, like when all pistons are firing, we're all going crazy. Colton and I are going fast. Gabe Krell, Luke Body, all of those guys are flying up the mountain at a pace that we have to pay attention to get up to. But I've structured, I guess for me, as a fat kid, right, I've tried to structure to around looking as good as I can for the body type that I have, staying as injury-free as I can with the body type, and really just being able to fly up a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that makes me susceptible to getting made fun of on Instagram or Facebook because I'm working out all the time, okay, but I feel healthy. It's for health purposes.
Dude, I'll tell you this, that some people give me crap. They have kind of this attitude like I spend all my time at the gym.
Which I can tell you that's not true. He hardly ever works out. You do a home gym thing, and he works out extremely hard for a relatively short period of time, and then you go run.
Yep, and I'll do that like 2 days a week. I'm not overly. I would love to do more because I like to work out.
Well, I'm a 5-day or 30-minuter, 30 to 40 minutes, 5 days a week, and I do cardio. I try to as much as I can every day or as much.
And that's where I think with strength, I am able to maintain on just 2 days, 3 days a week, intense workout. And I have a good sprint cardio. One thing that I'm good at is go fast, stop. Go fast, stop. Go fast, stop. And I've noticed when Aaron and I climb hills, I like to climb, stop for a second. catch my breath. Climb, stop for a second, catch my breath. Climb, catch my breath. And that's kind of my routine.
Yeah, definitely.
Aaron is just the same pace the whole way up. I'm like, that's so weird. Like, I don't think I've ever hiked that way before. I've always gone up, stopped. Cool, this is beautiful. Climb, stop. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of fast. Like, I have short legs. There's just, and so my legs go.
Yeah, you're like 2 or 3 steps every one of mine, and I can stride it out.
And then I stop, and Aaron looks so like it's so easy with these huge steps, few steps, you know. And I'm like, I feel like I'm jogging next to him. I'm like the little puppy dog that's like trying to keep up with the big dog.
You have little ass legs, that's for sure.
But this frequent stops, those actually are very much in tune with all the years I've spent doing CrossFit, which is, you know, intense, catch your breath, intense, catch your breath, you know, and these kind of interval hits.
Yeah.
And now what I'm doing with you is a lot more just throw on the pack and
Just a
goes
grind.
uphill for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
straight.
just a grind.
So that right there is I'm exercising and getting fitness in a different area. That said, when I hear somebody say something like, you know, a guy that goes to the gym and works out, they just can't hang with us guys that backpack all the time.
Yeah, which is not true.
It's just not true.
No. I mean, if a guy goes to the gym all the time and he's 5'10" and 240 with 18-inch arms and you know,
like if he goes to the gym and he never does cardio.
Yeah, then that guy definitely, I agree. But if a guy like Lance Banning and Dan Mead are a couple guys, Dan the fitness, what the hell's his last name?
Dan the fitness man?
Yeah, Staten, yeah. Him, they go to the gym all the time. There's many others that are super buff that go to the gym all the time. I mean, I don't know any of those guys that can't go hunt all day. I mean, I all of them can. Now, I would... If you were going to talk crap, to me, it would not be about guys in the gym all the time. I would say that there's a good argument to be made for the guy that eats unhealthy and never goes to the gym. He may not be able to hunt.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and I've had this conversation with Jay Scott, you know, there is a lot of people who, a lot of hunters who get sick and tired of the fitness scene being combined with hunting. To me,
God
dude,
forbid that we talk about fitness.
That's my whole thing too. To me, they're not mutually exclusive. You can be fit and you can be and you can hunt. I mean, they go hand in hand. It's like a life. That's why it's funny, like one of my main drivers for why I hunt is so I can be fit. And I eat healthier because I hunt, and I like to hunt so I can eat healthy. It's like this whole.
Well, and it's not like I'm excluded out of talking crap. I make jokes all the time about. I mean, I'm just a jokester, right? I mean, people make jokes about me. I don't care, but yes, you know, if you have, I mean, where it comes from, 10,000 likes on Facebook, never killed an animal, extremely buff, and a bunch of gym poses, but you wear hunting clothing. And then guys that, you know, that do hunt or shoot a lot of stuff or whatever, then they're like, oh my God, what's the industry coming to? And
right.
And it's that.
I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that, and you can, it can be that way, you know, to a certain degree. But I mean, for me, it's better than being fat, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's at least they're fit.
And I don't think you have to be, you know, I'll hear some skinny guys, real skinny guys say, you know, that muscles just ruin your ability to be a backcountry guy. I've seen a lot of guys who have lean muscle and are also extremely good at, you know, hiking. It's not like they're mutually exclusive. It's not like you have to be skinny in order to be. Look at Cameron, dude. That dude's Cameron's pretty ripped, and he runs 200 miles.
Yeah, he doesn't count though. He's not like the only person like that. It's strange even if
I would say that there's quite a few. Well, and those people are freaks of nature too.
Yeah,
but still, I'm not talking about guys that are like from the waist up jacked. I mean, we know legs and lungs make you a good hunter.
Yeah,
but so do core.
Yeah.
So does core. I mean, it's critical.
I mean, for me, why are we fighting about this bullshit is beyond me as part of it too. But yeah, as far as if I was going to give, because I need to take Amy out to dinner, I don't want to piss her off.
Yeah.
I would say if you're going, focus on core, focus on leg strength, focus on cardio, but you want to make sure, try to work out everything equally, meaning don't focus just like you see those guys with stick legs in the gym and huge upper body. Make sure you try to focus on your body throughout, meaning everything from lower back, core, legs, your cardio, everything else, and get the total package. If you're going to do fitness and just poo-poo on one thing and not another, you're going to end up probably with injuries, as I'd say the biggest thing is you'll end up with injuries.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd second that. I'd say you always want legs and lungs. Go for that. That's just conditioning.
Yeah.
And that just takes time. It just takes commitment, consistency.
Yep.
30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, like you're talking about. And then I agree with Aaron, man. I've always been a huge proponent of strong connective tissue and bone density and core strength. And that comes from, doing stuff that's not just hiking with a backpack.
Yep. No, I agree. I definitely don't just hike with a pack. I completely agree if your cardio is backpack hiking, your cardio portion of your workout, I am completely okay with that and agree. I have no problem with somebody loading up their pack and just doing cardio with a backpack on.
Yep.
It's just don't forget the other 30 minutes of your workout where you're doing some lunges and deadlifts and abs and crap. So
totally.
Yep.
I think that's it, dude.
Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Stay gritty.
Friends, hunters, outdoorsmen, lend me your ears. Please take this moment to listen to this excerpt from the Gritty Bowman film, Back to Traditions. Despite our ever-changing, ever-indignant world with its growing ignorance of and indifference to the ways of the wild, I remain a predator, pitying those who revel in artificiality and synthetic success while regarding me and my kind as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood. I stalk a real world of dark wood and tall grass stirred by a restless wind blowing across sunlit water and beneath star-strewn sky. And on those occasions when I choose to kill, to claim some small part of nature's bounty for my own, I do so by choice, quickly, with the learned efficiency of a skilled hunter. Further, in my heart and mind, I know the truth and make no apologies for my actions or my place in time. Others around me may opt to eat only plants, nuts, and fruits. Still others may employ faceless strangers to procure their meats, their leather, their feathers, and all those niceties and necessities of life. Such is their right, of course, and I wish them well. All I ask in return is no one begrudge me, and all of us who may answer the primordial stirrings within our hunter souls, my right to do some of these things myself. What you just heard is a quote from M.R. James. We truly live in a world that is largely ignorant and indifferent to the ways of the wild. And although some regard us as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood, we have the opportunity to change the way these people view the hunter and the hunt. We can share our experiences and nature's bounty with those who employ these faceless strangers. And by so doing, we make a difference, not just for ourselves, but for the wild animals in the wild places we care so deeply about. Never stop sharing your passion for hunting and the outdoors. Our wild animals and our wild places depend on it. We want to thank Kifaru, Mountain Ops, Hoyt, Vortex, Phelps, Black Eagle Arrows, and Crispy Boots for supporting the Gritty Bowman. We love these companies and the people behind them. They truly make fantastic products. Please support them whenever you can. And as always, good luck on your hunts and stay gritty.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowman.
Gritty Bowman.